Another reminder, guys, to any questions, any notes, any comments, drop them in the chat. All right, let's go ahead and start. Um, just show of hands. Can everybody see the slide here? This first slide here. Want to check, double check before we hop on. Okay, awesome. Awesome. Great. Thank you so much. Okay. All right, guys. So as you can see, we're on this is week 4 of the Agent Wealth Builder Mastermind. And yeah, it's every Wednesday at 12. So Eastern time, which is important because folks I've been chatting with, some are on the East Coast, some are overseas. So typically I just chat with different people before we start the call. I send the email blast out, but just folks are just kind of let me know whether they're able to hop on. So glad you guys are here and excited to share some more value with you. As I mentioned, I did drop the links in the chat. We are on YouTube and we're growing. We're up to 31 subscribers and we have some videos up. So these calls are recorded and they will be on YouTube. So if there's anything you missed, happy to chat with you one on one. But the videos will be on YouTube as well. The last one was awesome with Caroline Hilaire. She shared her business, Do It Afraid, and it was just fantastic. Um, Also, we are on Instagram as well. Same handle, Agent Wealth Builder, and we're growing and it's similar to YouTube. We're expanding there, so follow us there. Again, the links are in the chat. It reminds me of I know Earl likes Love Island, and that's just been stuck in my head. Like their phrase when they want to talk to someone is like, "Can I pull you for a chat?" So like, and it's like in the business, like we're always chatting, hopping on a call. So it's like really that lingo just swirls in my head. So I like it. I enjoy it. Awesome. So the one thing I wanted to shout out is, as you can see on our call, we're sponsored by EXP and the Visitor Realty Group. I just wanted to share EXP in the context of the World Cup, which is really cool. And EXP is in the US, of course, but also in 30 different countries. And it's funny because most of the teams that are playing in the World Cup, we have an EXP presence in that country. So the last 3 teams the remaining are Spain, Argentina, and England right now as the time of this call, and all 3 countries have an EXP presence. So that's countries like Canada, France, Israel, Turkey, Brazil, and so on and so on. So this powerful opportunity in EXP, not just to work with buyers and sellers, but to expand your rev share through adding people to your team, stock options, and so on and so forth. So just wanted to drop them. So shout out to EXP, amazing brokerage. Um, Fantastic. Our next sponsor is Visitor Realty Group. So super grateful to be a part of the team and growing them. And the most powerful piece of value that I get from Visit Realty Group and I share with folks is life by design. So everything that we do, from our tools, our systems, our trainings, recruiting, sales, it's all by design. And I guess there's some points on there too, but the main point is that we're not looking for folks just to buy and sell real estate. We use real estate to fund our dreams. So it's really an incredible opportunity. So again, we'd love to follow up with you if you want to learn more about the team and connect with me on that. So shout out to Visda Realty Group, incredible team. And as I mentioned, this is part of our July lineup. As I mentioned the last call, July 8th, was Caroline Hilaire, the founder of Do It Afraid, incredible, Black woman, business owner. She has several different ventures that she's part of. She shared some incredible value, and we had some great conversation. So I also want to shout out you, Fresna, just great points that you shared with the group, and she was able to answer those questions and kind of chat. So as Gene and the questions you guys shared, they were super valuable. So really appreciate that. Obviously today I'm on just sharing some value today. So I'll have the slides as well to accompany me, but I'll share the points today based on your feedback. So I have some new slides to kind of add and share um, with you. So the next 2 calls, we have some incredible guests on. Mike Vizda, a co-owner of Vizda Realty Group, incredible. They've built an incredible business that I'm happy to be a part of, and him and Ryan are just incredible. So he's going to share some tremendous value with you too. Sadie Holiday, July 29th. She is part of EXP Luxury and Holiday Realty Group. I think I don't think I've seen her sell a property under $1 million. So most of her properties are either above or at around that space. She works with a ton of builders. She's incredible. So she's awesome. I don't have the August slides on there yet because I'm still working with some folks. But right now, I do know that I have confirmed for August 12th, Meena Sharma. She runs EXP commercial brokerage, like commercial broker and business division. So she's part of that. And that's across the entire country. What that means is if you're interested in buying an existing business, which is like a huge piece of what folks are trying to do, she helps broker those deals. So she's going to be on sharing what she does, and you'll be able to connect with her on that. So look out for that call with her on that. As always, let me just drop this on here real quick. So if you guys want to connect, you might be asking yourself, like, how do I connect with you? You can connect with me either, of course, text on this call in the chat. You can pull me for a chat if you want, kind of like referring to Love Island, which is, yeah. So shout out to her for that. But you can yeah, send me an email, text, call me. You can also reach out social media. You see the notes there, Agent Wealth Builder, or we have a Gmail for the account too. You can also add growth in the chat if you want to, or just ask specific questions. Either way is fine. Awesome. So just a little bit of the vision and mission. Of course, we're a mastermind group, and we're looking to continue to build with tons of people. And essentially, the end goal is to get 1 million people on the pathway to millionaire status. So that obviously is going to be done through the things that we talk about, which is leverage, scaling via social media, these calls, and that's how we're going to do that. So glad you're part of this, sharing value and hopefully learning value and kind of picking up value from what you get from these calls. All right. So, one new slide, and this is feedback that I received. So, thank you, Daphne. I did mention the Pomodoro technique last time when I was referring to the book, The One Thing. And the tip of the week and this is like productivity hack and tip that I use personally every day is the Pomodoro technique. Some of you may have heard of this. But this accompanies time blocking. So say if you want to do set a time block to get work done, say from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m., for example, within that hour time block, the way the Pomodoro technique works is it's laid out is you choose one task. So obviously you want your top priority task. Then you set a timer for 25 minutes. All right. And the key is that third point there is to focus on the task without distractions. Okay. So you really want to do focused work, nothing else. And some people, they put their phone in a different room, or they might, sit in a certain space that helps them to focus, no TV, no distractions. But that's the key to focus on that. Then after that 25-minute time is done, you need to take a 5-minute break. What I typically do at my 5-minute break is I might get up, stretch, or you do some push-ups, or if you have like a machine or something to kind of do some like a light exercise on, or take a walk around your building or house or wherever you're working. So that's super helpful to kind of get that break. And then you repeat that same cycle 4 times and then take a longer break. So after 2 hours, you take a longer break from there. So just wanted to share that with you. That will help you and sort of like in this process of building wealth. A big part of that, you'll hear this from tons of people is doing focused work. Okay. Especially when you're focusing on your highest priorities. So that's that. So shout out to that. I added a person of the week to check out. And of all the people that I study tons of people, as I'm sure you guys do. Miles Monroe is a person I want to highlight. He's my favorite sort of like speaker, leader, kind of like coach person. And it's what's amazing about him is that his value lives on, although he passed away, unfortunately, 12 years ago in 2014 in an airplane crash. But essentially, just some quick notes on Miles Monroe, and I'll share a different person each week. He was a Bahamian pastor, speaker, and leadership teacher. And what I love about him is that he had an interesting way to blend faith with business and leadership. And he spoke about things that are super relevant now, especially in the context of what's one of the things I like is he talks about kingdom, like, what's the right form of government? Is it a democracy or a republic? But sort of like God's kingdom operates exactly like a kingdom. So like where the king owned all the land, and then essentially you are given the some land to oversee as a vassal or a lord, and essentially sort of like working on stewardship. So the same thing applies to your finances and being a good steward of your finances and the things that you're given. Of course, like we're all given gifts that help us generate wealth, whether that's your personality, your natural talents, and so on and so forth. So I love Miles Monroe so much because he spoke about, again, the second point is discovering your purpose, using your gifts and being a good steward. The third point is, of course, building assets and creating value, which is a word you hear a lot if you're, whether you're in real estate directly or real estate as an investment or building a business. It's essentially creating value. So the more value you can create for folks, the bigger your business or venture will be. All right. Super is super helpful and critical points. The fourth thing is investing in learning and developing skills that increase that value, right? So as you go, it's a never-ending journey of building skills that help to increase that value. And that last point is using wealth as a tool to serve others, support your family, and to make an impact. So I love Miles Monroe. He's incredible, and I can't talk about him enough. But I want to just shout him out. Again, before I jump into the next segment, I wanted to just kind of mention we can connect there. I'm not going to list those, but I just wanted to just drop it there to remind you guys that I'd love to connect with you guys if you find value in this, if you have more questions, if you want very specific feedback on your sort of like unique situation. I'm happy to connect with you and to help you on your journey. So let me just take a quick pause and just check if there are any questions. Let me just make sure. Let me drop out of here. Just check the chat. Oh, actually, yeah, we should chat. I love that. Yeah, it's so funny. Um, yeah, that's the thing stuck in my head. It's just so cool. Any questions before I jump into the next segment? I'm looking at. I'll be sharing three new books that I've read that hopefully will be helpful to you. So just want to take a quick pause and make sure that there aren't any questions. All right, cool. All right, so in that case, let me reshare my screen. All right. And and to one of the pieces of feedback that I got was which order should I read the books in? So I did arrange the books in an order. So if there's a book you want to read first, my suggestions, of course, recommendations will be in this order. But if you find it helpful to kind of switch it around for your specific situation, feel free to do so. All right, this is a book that if you're in the wealth building space long enough and you're around, you're either on YouTube or online looking at and listening to people who are wealth builders, so on and so forth, you've probably heard of this name, this book name, excuse me, and it is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. It is, I think it's probably nearly 100 years old. But that's the thing about wealth building is that the same principles hold true, regardless of what space you're in. And I typically just try to drop like 3 to 5 points per book, and then of course encourage you to actually read, to read the book, and to gain value from that. But so the biggest things, my takeaways from this book, were to have a clear and definite goal. All right. So essentially, that's just knowing exactly what you want to achieve. And the powerful tool, the most important tool is to write it down. Okay. And this is especially important in the context of our digital age where it's super easy to have our digital calendars. Of course, you guys got the link for this call and you have your Google or, whichever calendar software you use. But writing things down is powerful. That's why I would probably recommend, not probably, but I recommend this, the Remarkable, which is like it's like a cool hybrid of like a digital tool because these kind of like everything you write gets saved in the form of a PDF and uploaded to your cloud. But you can physically take a pen and write things down in this pad. I would say right now this book is probably in the hundreds of dollars. But even if this book was $10,000, I still would buy it because that's how valuable it is. So, and as you can see, that's something I learned from reading books like this is like the most successful people write things down. Okay. So that's number one takeaway. If I were to say one, have a clear, definite goal, but then he goes to kind of like on some just tons of points on here, but I try to just keep it to five. Develop a strong desire. Okay, you want a burning desire to do what you want to do. So if you're not extremely passionate about something, this is suggests like rethinking that or finding something you're passionate about, because that will help you to drive through even the most difficult times and seasons in your business growth. Okay. The third point I like is build faith through repetition. I mean, it's just like repeating the same process over and over again. Whatever you decide to do, focus on that. And that leads you to the second point is that the fourth point, of course, is take persistent action. So the most successful people that I meet, they aren't necessarily smarter or more equipped than others who aren't as successful. They just stick it through. Okay, and I can speak for myself, but this is just like if you want to model other people who've been successful, that's what they do. Whether it's a business, a company, real estate, working leads, whatever the case may be. And the fifth point, I say the fifth point for last because the principle of the mastermind came from this book. So the actual this call, and you may see tons of masterminds out there, comes from this call, and that the key to that is surrounding yourself with the right people. And if you have the right people in the group, then your collective thoughts and collective ideas can create an incredible mastermind. Where you can create amazing companies or just concepts as a whole as part of that collective. So super powerful, and that's why I I value your feedback regardless, but like the mastermind idea, that's is the so essentially that's the key part of that is just sharing ideas that build each other up. So I love this book, incredible book. I highly recommend it to start with sort of like the way you think, thought process. All right, third book, second book is The Psychology of Money. This is a really interesting book by Morgan Housel, and it has some concepts that are really interesting because and the reason they're interesting is because even people who are super intelligent, um there are people who aren't super intelligent who have trouble with money, and you know what I mean. So people usually typically equate um just intellect with finances, but that's actually this book breaks it down in a really unique way that I enjoyed when I read it. And so I'll just kind of talk to some of those points. I love this first point though. Wealth is not what you see. It's not what you see. It's what you don't see. And a lot of people equate wealth with like the house and the cars and all that. But real wealth is what you're able to save and what you're able to invest. Okay. So what that means is the people who have like massive houses, who have no savings, no investment, or people who probably live in an apartment who have massive, cash reserves and investments. And it's like it's really interesting thing. And it reminds you of the story of that janitor who he passed away, and I think he made no more than $15 an hour. And when he passed away, he left behind $8 million behind to various charities and folks, that he cared about. And it's interesting how that's set up. It's really cool. All right, the second point is financial success is driven by behavior and not intelligence. This is what I mentioned, and it's really interesting. So like that speaks to like how folks buy things because of like an emotional drive, and whether it's like to compete with someone else or because they're passionate about something or they care about things, and they got that, being led by emotions can lead to making not so good financial choices. So that's was really interesting to me, very different. The third point is has to do with investing. The power of compounding requires time. So that's not just in skills, but that's in money. So like investing over time in small amounts builds your wealth. The fourth point, save regardless of your income. You guys can see those notes. And that's just really that fourth point is super valuable to us on this group. So those of you who are just starting out, trying to figure things out, whether whether you're just you have like $10 or a dollar or $100 or 1,000 or $10,000 a month to save, just start saving now, and that'll build over time. Okay. And this fifth point is it's connected to that emotional piece. It's like having enough is better than always wanting more, and that's just, of course, we all want to grow and build as people. But this speaks to, of course, money and how it can be easy to get into lifestyle inflation. Like the more you make, You want to spend more and buy more, but real wealth is being able to live below your means and kind of like take those steps incrementally. So I love this book, really good book. I highly recommend it, of course. And yeah, uh, I encourage you to check it out. All right, the third and final book I want to share today is by Brian Tracy. Brian Tracy is one of my favorite speakers as well. He's definitely in my top like 10. Man, maybe five, because he's the one that I first heard of writing your goals down, like setting a clear goal and writing things down. And then I began to see that from other people. But Brian Tracy really speaks to that. And I love this book. I actually saw clips of him on YouTube, but I decided to kind of go just kind of let me just read his material and check it out. And this is a really good book as far as like if getting things done, of course, but if you're having a hard time procrastinating and actually like getting things started, it's a really good book. And again, as always, I just took like 5 points that may be helpful from the book, but there are tons of more points in here. I mean, right on on the cover it says 21 great ways to stop procrastinating and get more done in less time. And yeah, so he speaks to that. Number one point, I mean, set clear goals in writing. And if you guys don't see the correlation, hopefully you do see that, and you will begin to see that more often, in which different successful people, you'll see a lot of the same values, same principles across the board, which speaks to success and the fact that you guys will be successful if you follow those same principles. Okay. And the way to set goals is the second point is plan your day in advance. Okay, I do this, and of course, people who are super successful beyond us here like do that as well. So like the night before, what that is like the night before you set goals, and you kind of like plan your day out. So that way you're waking up with your goals in mind, and it could be whether it's like one goal or three goals or more. It's always helpful to do it the night before. Okay. And the third point is the thing is like once you organize those goals, all right, you start with the most important task first. So you see that with the Pomodoro technique, you see that with Think and Grow Rich and countless books. Is they always focus on like getting the hard thing done. That's kind of like what that the title speaks to is eating that frog. The thing that you usually don't want to do is the thing that will get you to the next step in your business and your life and your career. So really valuable. I love that. And the fourth point is you prioritize using the 80-20 rule, which is basically the Pareto principle. And it says it right there. I made sure to list that 20% of the tasks that produce 80% of the results. And that ratio is consistent with most things. Like 20% of the work you do will yield most of that. And that's in relationships and wealth building and getting tasks done. And yeah, and leads me to that last point: avoid procrastination and take action. And if you ever watch Brian Tracy, also passed away too. Rest in peace to him. But he has a thing where he did an exercise that he did on a video that I saw. He's just like, hey, like what you do is when you have that set goal, you have that goal or things you want to do. He physically says, encourages people to say, take action, do it now, do it now, do it now, just to kind of get that kind of point across to get started. So, wanted to make sure before we jump to the next point, any questions? I want to make sure I stop to just check the chat because I know you guys can see my screen here, but when I have this up, I cannot see the chat. So let me just double check and make sure that all right, any questions? All right, on notes. Awesome, awesome. Nothing so far. Again, I encourage you guys to reach out if you guys have any questions. But let me go ahead and follow through with some more notes there. Yeah, I love these books. These books they all help me so much. Just a reminder, guys, to follow us on YouTube. We are on YouTube. Want to bring that back. The links are in the chat. Same thing for Instagram. Follow us there. We love to connect with you. And again, these calls are every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern time. And of course, you can connect with me here. So let me leave that up and make sure I left the flow open. If there are any notes or anything, any feedback. So what was one thing that you took from this call? And maybe I can start from there. Like, what is one thing, if you could drop that in the chat, what's one thing that you thought was valuable from this call? Whether it was the tip, Pomodoro technique, or the note on Miles Monroe or the books. Is there anything that is helpful? that you are willing to share on this on the chat, feel free to drop that in. I want to leave a minute for that just in case. All right, let me make sure I go back to the slides here. All right, want to make sure I put that out there. All right, awesome. Oh, thanks. All 3 points work for me. Awesome. Um, that's great. Thank you, Daph. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. And as always, guys, I am available offline. I enjoy these calls, and really, the hope is that you guys got some tremendous value from this. I know Daphne, you did. Thank you so much, and those of you guys. And also, it works the other way too. Just want to remind you guys of that too. Any notes you think that are helpful, this is a mastermind, so it could be chat, text, call, email. Feel free to reach out on the social media pages. Feel free to comment on those pages as well. I encourage you to follow us on YouTube and Instagram. And I want to just thank you guys again for being on the call. Next week, July 22nd, we will have Mike Vizda, the owner of the Vizda Realty Group, on this call sharing some tremendous value. So you don't want to miss that, okay? And share with your friends, share with those you know who you love and you care about. And yeah, appreciate it, guys. So you guys take care. Have a great day, and I appreciate you guys being on the call.
Thank you.
All right, you're welcome. You guys take care.